All right, guys, I'm super excited because today we'll be dropping our first ever Deadlock video. And before I get into what that is and how that's going to work on the channel, let's talk about the channel in general very briefly. So I've been away for a little bit, dropped a video just yesterday, but I wanted to lay out what you can come to expect in the coming weeks and months from my channel. There'll be three major content categories that I'll be focusing on. One is Counter-Strike, one is Deadlock, and one is performance. And so aiming stuff, I think, kind of rolls into that performance category. But these will just be the main focuses. It's not to say that I won't make other videos that fit outside of those contexts, but it's safe to say that Valorant content will be extremely unlikely as I don't have a future in that game. And so it doesn't really seem to make sense for me to make any content on it. So Deadlock and CS and performance stuff will be the main focuses. So again, as always, if there's any things in particular that you're looking for me to make or you think I could uniquely be able to offer insight on, please leave that in the comments below. Now to get into what we're doing here with Deadlock. Now, I've only had 2 or 3 weeks with this game. So I've only got like 30, 40, 50 hours, somewhere in that region. So I'm very inexperienced. So I was trying to think, what would be a cool series to do for this game? And I was like, okay, I need to learn. So how about I take you guys on that journey with me? And I take, high level lobbies, like the highest of MMR lobbies that we can find on Twitch. And we feature those streamers and we analyze their gameplay and just see what's going on in the various scenarios. And we try to break down what we can. And then we try to hopefully extract all that knowledge so that it can help us to better understand the game, better improve as players, and maybe appreciate the top level even more. So with that said, I'm going to be jumping in with Mikael, who's I think I'm saying it correctly, who is a top Deadlock streamer at the moment, 1,000+ hours, a rank 1 in the leaderboards. Let's get into it. We're playing Paradox, which is a really fun character, actually. I think is one of the more frequent ones that's played by Mikael. And let's see what lane we're in. So first things first, the early laning phase is, pretty much all of the game is about your souls per minute. But especially the early laning phase, because you're going to be mostly just on your lane for that first 10 minutes, and you want to maximize, of course, the experience and the currency that you get, so that you can go into that mid game where there's more roaming as strong as possible. So that's the first thing we're thinking about, is just getting souls. We're not really thinking too much about getting kills. That's not really a priority at this point. It doesn't really reward you that heavily, and it's not really worth the risk oftentimes, unless, of course, the opportunity presents itself. So, you'll quickly notice, if you haven't played or know anything about this game, that when you certain things happen when you kill creeps. So when you kill a creep, you'll get some currency, half, and then you'll see a little orb, soul orb, pop out, like you can see there, and then you can shoot that. And that is the deny mechanic that is available to you in this game. So if you're familiar with MOBAs and like last hitting, denying, experiencing gold, it's kind of the same thing that you're doing here. However, they've nerfed it slightly insofar as you can only ever deny half from your opponent. So that's kind of nice. So you can see the red orbs are orbs that are appearing from your creeps that your enemy is trying to capture the souls of, and you can deny those and you get the currency and experience instead. So this is one dynamic at play. And you can see with when you try to melee creeps, like we saw there. Oh, we just got a parry there, so I'll explain that as well. We'll just cover the absolute basics to get out of the way with. But if you melee the creeps, it gives you all the souls. So there's no little orb that pops up, and which is really nice, because if you're one of those heroes that is not going to be able to play the ranges very well and you're getting harassed a lot, you can just play these super close covered positions and just melee stuff, and you can still manage to get experience. So that's nice. So the other thing that just happened here is, in this area, we get the pocket coming close, and this is actually super smart what just happened. So pocket saw that our Paradox, Mikael, was trying to melee the creeps. And what we're seeing here is a parry animation. So if you press the parry button, and let's say the Paradox was going into like last hit the creep, and he's just moved in there with the parry, you get a stun on the person that gets parried. So the Paradox would, like we're watching, Mikael will get stunned for a while, and there would be loads of free damage that would be possible. So it's actually devastating to get parried. So that's a really smart play that Pocket just barely missed out on. So big respect on that one. So we unlock an ability, we get our bomb, basically. This is like a pulse grenade, it's like a frag grenade from KO. You can see it as pulses. We're getting a lot of damage here on the Pocket. Pocket's been way over aggressive and has now given a lot of free reign here. But it doesn't matter too much. Let's look at another slice here of what's happening. So there's some natural dynamics that are in occurrence on these lanes. So you can see we're going back for some sustain. We pick up the extra stamina item because why? a priority is to stay on the lane. So if you're getting harassed a lot, if you're playing an opponent that wants to try to hit you a lot, again, because your priority is to stay in a position to be able to deny creeps and to be able to last hit your own creeps as well, you want to be able to get as much lane time as possible. So we get the sustain item as a response to that principle of staying on lane when enemy is harassing. But the phase that I'm talking about right here that's happening that you can notice is the natural ebb and flow. So space that is created and by, let's say, you wiping out your creeps at your tower, and then if they've gone back because they're weak, which is the case, and you went back because you're weak, which is the case, you get to come back with the space of your creeps now, and you can see now the enemy creeps are at the enemy tower. So you're in a position where you've got forward pressure, but also you are also susceptible to ganks. So if we want to try to add in a good practice here, if you're ever this pushed on the early laning phase, check every lane, and hopefully you have teammates that will call heroes that are missing, but this is how you would get ganked. This is prime condition to get ganked. Not to say that you will, but you should be checking the mini map here to check that, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, I can't get ganked here. So if I want to be aggressive, I can do so more safely. So we get some more kind of denies. We get the kinetic carbine, which is an ability that when it gets charged up and you shoot the next bullet, it will disable your opponent briefly. So you can get some nice damage in. So unable to connect that one. So the idea would have been to get the stun off and then you throw the grenade under them as they're stunned. Nice little deny coming through there as well. Okay, now we're getting to the next phase. Okay, the creeps are starting to push out. So you get two options here. Your option is either to be aggressive, as we're seeing. This is an aggressive option. So as I mentioned, we're staying close to our opponent's tower, enemy tower, and we're deciding to shoot the creeps and burst them down, which will allow our creeps to get back up to the tower for more tower pressure. But again, it keeps us in this more push position. Your other option is to actually go back towards the your own lane and your own tower, which is a more defensive option. You can still just play a bit further back, use your ranged weapon, and if they try to kill your creeps, you can just deny from range, and that's much safer. So this is allowing you, the pro of doing this is it keeps you in a position where you keep this space and you're able to get more damage onto the enemy tower should you kind of get closer. But this is the risk. The opponent's going to say, I'm going to go and dive you right now because you don't, like if you're on the losing end of this fight, it takes ages to get to safety to your tower. So that is why you got to be worried about them being aggressive. This is a good option for them to be aggressive. It's a good option for you to be aggressive. And what happens? We get punished. We get punished for being in an overly aggressive position. Now, the question is, do we need to be? I would argue that the answer there is no, because your best case scenario from being pushed there is doing damage to the tower. Now, do you need to do damage to the tower at this early phase in like under 3 minutes? I would actually argue that no is the answer. And in fact, you can still keep compounding your advantage because we got to kill early, right? So we're in advantage generally. Just keep compounding the advantage by making yourself impossible to kill, and then you can play your tower. And as you can see now, all of the creeps are kind of pushed up here. And it looks like we should be able to get all the value. I don't think we're missing any of the creeps here, so that's kind of nice. So, because that's one of the things that can be the case when you're off lane. Okay, so we're back in the lane again, and we are, again, just doing a lot of damage to these creeps and bursting them down. And what's also nice here is that by doing that, it's obviously going to make it a bit easier for you if you want to actually aggress onto your opponent. And okay, this is an interesting spot. So we've got the pocket who's on these stairs. Very aggressive positioning. We were just talking about that, how aggressive the positioning can really give your opponent opportunities. Right now, there's a couple options. You either play defensively or you play aggressively. So because we're in this spot, we could kind of actually dash out to the side and get a position really far ahead of our opponents. So they would have to run through us and then still past us to get to safety. And given that the pocket's quite low on health, this is dangerous for them to be in this kind of a position. However, we have pretty much all of the useful items on cooldown or useful abilities on cooldown. So we probably want to play a safer option here. Okay, and that's exactly what happens. We just play back and try to deny instead, which I really like. Because again, you don't need to heavily prioritize kills at this point. You just want to get as many souls as possible. And the creeps give you a lot of currency and experience. So good denies coming in here as well. Nice little flick shot there. We punch that one to get the whole souls. And and still collecting those souls. So doing a really good job controlling space and really like abusing the fact that we've got a health advantage. Really big damage there. Again, it really seems like the posturing from the pocket is aggressive. So now again, we're starting to cross this halfway point. As we cross the halfway point, we need to be extra careful. Or we just saw the pocket there on the right side on the minimap. That's suspicious. So we'll have to see what that's all about. It's very suspicious positioning. And, okay, what's on the blue lane? Missing. Okay, this has to be a gank. Okay, there's the other player, so the gank indeed. This is why you want to keep an eye on your minimap, especially if you're in a position to get into a more aggressive position. A nice use of the fog there. Really nice way to get out. So that's okay, so what we learned there, let's go back to this. What we learned here is that if you're in an aggressive position and you're not sure, you do have an option to utilize this little kind of, I'm not sure what this is technically called, this like fog or shroud that you can go into and you can hop out. So you can cut off line of sight when you go through this shroud. They're not sure exactly what you're going to do. If you jump up here, we're closing off line of sight. This is really cool because if they're trying to chase you through this avenue, obviously they're taking damage, you get more damage as they try to push, and you're back at the tower. So really, really good movement and line there coming through from Mikael. That's something that we should be aware of. That's really cool. We saw there as well. We used the rope. We used the rope here to get an elevated position, to get some information about like where people are. Really nice, actually. I love that from just like being able to be a bit more aware on the lane. Okay. This position indicates that the pocket wants to fucking kill you. He wants you dead right now. He is like waiting here to do damage and is looking for an opportunity to get the kill. So, are we able to see that? I love the priority on the deny there. That's actually sick because you're not getting a kill here. That was like maximizing value of that little engagement. Oh, okay. And we've got even more aggression coming through the dive. So our HP is really low at this point, so diving is definitely something that's looking to be done, and we actually get a nice connection from the ghost thingy. I don't know what it's called. There's going to be a bit of a struggle on like figuring out what everything's called. You got to bear with me on that one. I might stop this video at the 10-minute mark just to see kind of like how you guys are receiving it, and we'll like look at just focus on the early laning phase because I feel like we've already got quite a few good points that have come into play about how do we kind of begin to think about where the decision points are for our early laning phase. And with the items, we can see that both it's a mixture of damage and sustain items so far. So we haven't really also focused on item builds or anything like that. We've been mostly focused on how do you try to maximize your value in the lane to get a good start. Okay, so again, you can see that just hungry for the aggression. The pocket is obviously super good in these close 1v1s, this pocket, so you got to be super careful, but nice melees there. Okay, interestingly, there was an opportunity for pocket to actually parry there, but the problem with the parry is you're kind of static and pocket wants to like keep running away, so it's like a hard call sometimes to make on the fly, but really well done. And obviously when no one else is present, you don't have to worry about these last hits because no one's going to steal them from you, so don't waste your time on it. And now we're going to finally get some tower damage. And one of the reasons why I said tower damage earlier wasn't too important is because your damage will scale up quite quickly if you do well on your lane. So you're going to, as soon as you end up getting to the tower around like the 6 to 8 to 10 minute mark, you're going to be doing significantly more damage anyway. So we get a continued focus on collecting value on the lane. And this is like a huge, it feels like, okay, so I haven't actually looked at the values, but, wait, which team are we on? It should show us on the left, right? So Parrot is 4.3k and where's Pocket? 3.9k. So we have an edge here. We have an edge. And that's actually a cool thing about these one-on-one lanes. We can really kind of clearly see who's winning. So it's a slight edge here for Mikael, doing a great job with these abilities, like following up the kill. Ooh, dude, Pocket is scary. And there's Viscose coming in to finish him off. So again, we're in that territory of the game now where the ganks and the roaming is beginning to happen. So collecting the items, we're still ahead in comparison with the Pocket. So we've done a good job here in the early laning phase so far. Now, we need to start to take note as to kind of what's beginning to happen around the rest of the map. Like, where are we winning? Where are we losing? Like, which of them is getting kind of too powerful? Because it's really, really important to try to keep a check on your opponent's carries. and really who's getting like big soul advantages. And so far we can see that it's the Shiv that's getting has the, oh no, it's Viscose actually that must have crushed lane, because 8k already at 7 minutes is pretty damn good. So we're clearing up these creeps, and our tower is gone. So with the tower gone, you are way less safe. Let's think about this dynamic. When the tower is gone, you are much less safe. If you decide to push out, your next point of kind of relative safety is all the way back to the other tower. So this is the main consideration. So when you're farming, you want to try to stay, you know, like just clear out all these creeps and just don't push towards their tower unless you're in a really decent position to do so, or you know it's safe, or you have teammates that can help you. But if you want to reduce risk otherwise, then those are the conditions you need to think about. So we're looking here for our own gank. 2 players in the blue lane, but they're falling off. And where are the creeps? Okay, so the creeps are going to be fairly pushed up. So looking to instead try to get this tower down. I think this is a really great opportunity. So let's just think about the pathing there for a second and how this decision was made. So as we said, you don't really want to just push from this point once your tower is gone, unless, again, as I mentioned, the conditions allow it to make sense for you to do it safely. So instead, it's an opportunity to see, okay, what's happening on the blue lane, the one next to us. So we look to try to set up a gank. So we move across, we find nothing. And so then at that point, we're like, okay, well, let's look at the minimap. Everyone is missing, but I can come in on the side here, and I have all these creeps as well. So you might as well try to get some value. But look at how we're not overextending. We're still kind of like trying to play a little bit back. We're not like deeper on the tower. With that said, it looks like it's still Viscose coming in, who's the absolute tank with 9k, so best farm in the game at the moment. And one thing about this ability, this force field, is it's really nice because it blocks the bullets your opponent shoots, but it will you are able to shoot through it, so it can be amazing in 1v1s. But if they're in your face, it's very easy for them to deal with it. So this is just like, ooh, the reload, ooh, cut off line of sight just in time. But obviously there's the what's it called? It's like a puddle fist or something is what it's called. So that's gonna be that.
Yes, 10k souls.
All right, so where are we at here in the video? 17 minutes. Okay, so we're getting some more items here with the money that we have, and at this point, you're looking you're still considering farm, but you're also considering objectives for your teammates to help control the map. All right, so we're gonna clear up this farm, and with that, I think this would be a pretty good stopping point. Okay, I really want to know like what do you guys think of this, because honestly, I'm gonna go off of of the feedback that you guys have. But this is gonna be the general style probably as to like how I might try to break stuff down, and depending on what's happening, and it will be a different focus perhaps in most of the games. We'll have some of these basic principles obviously, and we'll see cool stuff around those, but some games maybe we'll be talking more about the builds, and sometimes we're going to be looking at lanes where we're playing with a teammate as well. So yeah, looking forward to making more content like this. Please let me know what you want to see with these videos in particular. Are there particular streamers that I must follow in terms of looking at their gameplay and breaking it down? Give me your thoughts, and we will do it together. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.